My fiancé called me a grease monkey in front of her fancy lawyer friends, and now I'm about to torch everything. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 33, and I'm pretty sure my life is a dumpster fire right now. My parents, both high-powered lawyers, have always low-key looked down on my custom car business. They wanted me to be just like them, but I'm more comfortable under the hood of a '67 Mustang than in a courtroom. Now, throw in my fiancée, Serena, who they absolutely adore, and things get messy. She's all about appearances and fitting in with her rich family. I always felt like I wasn't good enough, and now I know why. Think I'm overreacting? Just wait until you hear what happened at her firm's anniversary party. It was one of those stuffy, champagne and canapés affairs at some rooftop bar overlooking the city. Serena, stunning in a designer dress, was introducing me to her colleagues, all perfectly coiffed and radiating success. I was already feeling out of place, my hands still smelling faintly of engine oil despite scrubbing them raw. Then, as I shook hands with some guy whose business card probably cost more than my toolbox, Serena CHIRPED, and this is Ethan, our resident grease monkey, always happy to get his hands dirty. The blood drained from my face. I felt this sickening lurch in my stomach like I'd just swallowed a mouthful of battery acid. My ears started ringing and the city lights below blurred into an indistinguishable mess. Did she just? Really? I looked at her, hoping for some sign, any sign that she was joking. But her smile was wide, condescending, almost proud, of humiliating me. My heart hammered against my ribs. I mumbled something about needing some air and stumbled away from the group, the champagne flute slipping from my numb fingers and shattering on the marble floor. I barely registered the concerned glances. I just needed to escape. I locked myself in a bathroom stall, my head spinning. Grease monkey, she knew how much my business meant to me. She knew how hard I'd worked to build it from the ground up. And she just reduced me to a punchline. I felt betrayed, humiliated, small. The shame was a physical weight crushing me. I splashed water on my face, staring at my reflection. I looked broken. And then the anger started bubbling up, hot and acidic. This wasn't a joke. This was a declaration, a public announcement that I wasn't good enough, not for her, not for her world. And maybe, just maybe, not even for my own parents. Okay, so I cornered Serena after she finally finished air kissing every single person at that damn party. I could barely keep my voice steady. Serena, I said, trying to keep the anger out of my voice, we need to talk about what you said back there. She rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, Ethan. Don't tell me you're still upset about that. It was just a joke. A joke, my voice cracked. Calling me a grease monkey in front of all your colleagues. That's not a joke, Serena, it's humiliating. You're being too sensitive, she sighed, patting my arm like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Lighten up, they loved it, it's endearing. Endearing, endearing, my hands started to shake. Endearing, Serena, it's my livelihood, it's something I'm proud of, and you just made me feel like crap about it. God, you're so insecure, she snapped, pulling away. I can't believe you're making such a big deal out of this. It's not like I called you a loser or something, you need to learn to take a joke. And that's when my parents sauntered over, all smiles and condescension. Everything all right, you too? My mother asked, her eyes flickering between us. Ethan's just being a bit dramatic, Serena said sweetly, linking her arm through mine. He's a little sensitive about his hobby. Hobby, she called it a hobby. I wanted to scream, my father chuckled. Oh, Ethan, always the sensitive one, you know Serena didn't mean anything by it. But she did mean something by it, I insisted, my voice rising. She meant to belittle me, to make me feel small. My mother placed a hand on my shoulder, her grip surprisingly tight. Ethan, dear, she said, her tone dripping with that special brand of parental disappointment, Serena is a successful lawyer. She has important clients. You need to understand that sometimes you have to adapt to certain social situations. Perhaps you could try to present yourself in a more polished manner. Adapt, polished, they were siding with her. Against me, defending her public humiliation of me. I felt like I was suffocating. So I should just be ashamed of what I do? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. No one's saying that, Ethan, my father said, his voice tight. But you have to admit, cars are a peculiar choice for someone with your potential. Potential. That word. Always that word. The unspoken accusation that I was wasting my life, that I wasn't living up to their expectations. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a little family squabble. This was toxic. This was them, my own parents, choosing her, her image, her world over me, over my happiness, over my entire life. I ripped my arm away from Serena, my chest heaving. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't speak. I just turned and walked away, leaving them there, bathed in the city lights, oblivious to the wreckage they'd just created. I needed to get out. I needed to escape. And I needed to figure out how to burn this whole thing to the ground. A week later, and things have gone from dumpster fire to nuclear meltdown. I've been mostly avoiding Serena and her family, trying to process the whole grease monkey debacle and the fact that my own parents basically threw me under the bus. But they didn't let me stew in peace. Oh no, they decided to bring in the big guns. My Aunt Carol, the queen of passive-aggressive jabs and backhanded compliments. This morning she calls me out of the blue. "Ethan, darling," she starts, her voice dripping with fake concern. "I'm so worried about you. Serena told me about the little misunderstanding at the party. You know, dear, sometimes you have to adapt to Serena's world. She's such a brilliant girl, a real catch. You wouldn't want to lose her over something silly like your hobby, would you?" Hobby. Again, I swear I'm going to lose it. "It's not a hobby, Aunt Carol," I gritted out, trying to stay calm. "It's my business, my livelihood." "Oh, of course, dear," she said, her tone condescending. "But wouldn't you be so much happier in a nice, respectable profession, like law, perhaps, following in your parents' footsteps?" "Are you kidding me with this?" "I am happy, Aunt Carol," I snapped, finally losing my cool. "I'm happy building cars, it's what I love, and frankly, it's none of your business." "Oh, Ethan," she sighed dramatically. "Don't be like that, we just want what's best for you. Serena is such a wonderful influence. She can help you refine your image, perhaps introduce you to some of her colleagues, help you find a more suitable career, a more suitable career." I hung up on her. My hands were shaking. This wasn't about me. This was about control, about forcing me into their mold, into their idea of success. It's affecting everything. I can't sleep. I can barely eat. I'm snapping at my friends. I'm making mistakes at work, which is not like me. My entire life feels like it's imploding. And the worst part? The sickening realization that this isn't going to stop. They're not going to back down. They're going to keep chipping away at me, eroding my self-worth until I break, until I give in, until I become the person they want me to be. No, absolutely not. I'm done. I'm done being their puppet. I'm done letting them dictate my life. I need to take action. And I need to do it now. This isn't just about me anymore. This is about taking a stand, about fighting for my right to be happy, to be me. Even if it means burning every last bridge. Stay tuned, Reddit. This is about to get messy. So I finally broke down and called Mr. Harding, my old auto shop teacher from high school. He's a gruff, like sandpaper and whiskey gruff, but he always believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. I hadn't talked to him in years, felt like I'd outgrown him or something. Stupid, I know. But I was so caught up in trying to impress Serena and her crowd that I forgot who I was. Anyway, I called him up, half expecting him to tell me to grow a pair and get over it. But when I started telling him about the grease monkey comment, and my parents backing Serena up, and my aunt's helpful career advice, he just went silent. And then he said, in that gravelly voice of his, "She called you what?" I kind of mumbled through the rest of it, feeling like a whiny kid. I even downplayed it a bit, said maybe I was overreacting, like I was trying to convince myself more than him. "Overreacting?" he barked. "Kid, they're treating you like dirt, like your passion, your skill, is something to be ashamed of. That ain't right." Hearing him say that, it was like a punch to the gut, but a good punch. Like one of those wake-up calls you see in movies. Suddenly, I wasn't just stewing in my own self-pity. Someone else saw it. Someone else recognized how messed up the whole thing was. "They keep saying I'm wasting my potential," I said, the words tumbling out. "That I should be a lawyer like them, like I'm some kind of failure because I'd rather rebuild a carburetor than write a legal brief." "Potential," he snorted. "Your potential is to be the best damn mechanic you can be. You got a gift, Ethan. I saw it back then, and I hear it in your voice now, even when you're trying to downplay it. Don't let anyone, especially someone who's supposed to love you, make you feel ashamed of who you are." And that Reddit, that was the moment everything shifted. It was like someone flipped a switch in my brain. Mr. Harding, this gruff old guy who smelled like motor oil and sawdust, saw my worth. He saw the value in what I do. And suddenly I saw it too, clearly. For the first time in maybe ever, I started crying. Like full-on ugly crying. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear those words, how much I needed someone to validate my feelings, to tell me I wasn't crazy. "Thanks, Mr. Harding," I choked out. I really needed that." "Don't mention it, kid," he grumbled. "Now get out there and show 'em what you're made of, and if that girl can't see how damn lucky she is, she ain't worth your time." He was right. She wasn't. and neither were their expectations. I was done trying to fit into their mold. I was done letting them define my worth. I was finally free. I was at my parents' house, supposedly for a casual dinner code for another round of subtle digs at my career choice and thinly veiled praise for Serena's latest legal victory. I was trying to be civil, to just get through it, even though every word felt like a tiny paper cut. I excused myself to use the restroom, and as I passed the living room, I heard Serena on the phone with her mother. I stopped dead in my tracks. "He's getting there," she said, her voice dripping with that condescending tone she reserves just for me. "It's a slow process, but I'm molding him. Think of him as my little fixer-upper project. He has potential, you know. Once I get him to ditch the whole grease monkey thing and find a respectable job, he'll be almost presentable." Fixer-upper project, presentable. My blood ran cold. It was like someone had punched me in the stomach, knocked all the air out of my lungs. I felt this hollowness, a gaping void where my heart used to be. This wasn't about my career, my clothes, or my image. This was about her fundamental lack of respect for who I am. She saw me as a broken, flawed thing that needed to be fixed to fit into her perfect little world. The room started to spin. I gripped the doorframe to steady myself. My hands were trembling, I felt nauseous. This wasn't just a joke anymore. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. This was a calculated, systematic dismantling of my self-worth. And the worst part, she wasn't even trying to hide it. She was bragging about it to her mother. That was the moment. The moment everything changed. The anger, the hurt, the humiliation, it all coalesced into this white-hot rage. I wasn't a victim anymore. I wasn't a project, I was a human being, and I deserved to be treated with respect. I deserved to be loved for who I was, not for who she wanted me to be. I knew with absolute certainty that I couldn't stay in this relationship, not for another second. I wouldn't let her or her family or even my own parents continue to diminish me. I needed to walk away. I needed to burn it all down. And I knew exactly how I was going to do it. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this is where the rubber meets the road. After hearing Serena's fixer-upper comment, I knew I couldn't just slink away. I had to confront this head-on. This wasn't just about ending the engagement. This was about reclaiming my self-respect. First, I needed ammunition. I wasn't going to let them gaslight me into thinking I was overreacting. So I dug out some old photos of me in high school, working on cars with Mr. Harding, grinning ear to ear. A reminder of the pure, unadulterated joy I felt before Serena and her family started chipping away at it. I also found a handwritten letter Mr. Harding gave me when I graduated, praising my talent and encouraging me to pursue my passion. Proof. I even printed out some testimonials from satisfied customers, highlighting the quality of my work and the respect I'd earned in the car community. I was building a case, Reddit, a damn good one. Next, strategy. Their annual Memorial Day barbecue was coming up. The perfect stage. All her family, some of mine, everyone dressed to the nines, pretending to be perfect. I knew it would be a bloodbath, but I didn't care. I was ready for war. I reached out to a few close friends, the ones who had always supported my car business, the ones who knew the real me. They were shocked when I told them what had been happening. They offered to be there for me to back me up. Having that support system, knowing I wasn't alone, was huge. It gave me the strength I needed to face the firing squad. Then, the most satisfying part. That ridiculously expensive watch Serena gave me for my birthday. The one I never wore because it felt like a gilded cage. I sold it, took the cash and donated it to a trade school scholarship program in Mr. Harding's name. A big, fat screw you to their idea of respectability. It felt amazing, like I was finally taking back control. Finally, the mental game. This was the hardest part. I knew I was about to unleash a hurricane of family drama. I knew there would be fallout. My parents would be disappointed. Serena and her family would be furious. But I kept reminding myself of Mr. Harding's words. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed of who you are. I visualized the confrontation, practiced what I would say. I wouldn't yell, I wouldn't plead. I would be calm, clear, and resolute. I would speak my truth and walk away. I was steeling myself for the explosion, but I knew, deep down, that on the other side of the wreckage I would finally be free. The Memorial Day barbecue was in full swing. Serena's family, a sea of pastel polos and perfectly ironed khakis, milled around the manicured lawn, sipping iced tea and making small talk. My parents, looking like they'd stepped out of a Brooks Brothers catalog, hovered nearby, radiating that special blend of parental pride and anxiety. Serena, in a flowing white sundress, flitted among the guests, the picture of effortless grace. I took a deep breath, clutching the small velvet box containing the photos and the letter. This was it. I waited for a lull in the conversation, then cleared my throat. "I'd like to propose a toast," I announced, my voice surprisingly steady. The chatter died down and all eyes turned to me. Serena beamed, expecting some saccharine declaration of love. She was in for a rude awakening. "I want to thank everyone for coming today," I began, raising my glass. My gaze swept across the assembled guests, lingering on Serena's parents, their smiles frozen in place. "It's a beautiful day, and I appreciate you all being here." I turned to Serena, my voice hardening. "Especially you, Serena," her smile faltered. A flicker of unease crossed her face. "You see, Serena," I continued, "I've learned a lot over the past few weeks. I've learned that you see me as a fixer-upper project, someone who needs to be molded into your idea of a suitable husband. I've learned that you find my passion my livelihood, something to be ashamed of, something to be hidden away like a dirty little secret. You called me a grease monkey in front of your colleagues, and your family has spent weeks trying to refine me, to push me into a career I don't want, a life I don't want." I pulled the velvet box from my pocket and opened it, holding up the photos. "This," I said, my voice rising, "is me. This is who I am. This is what I love, and I will not be ashamed of it, not for you, not for anyone." I then held up the letter. "This," I continued, "is a letter from Mr. Harding, my high school auto shop teacher. He saw my potential, the real potential that you and your family are so blind to. He encouraged me to follow my passion, to embrace who I am, and I'm finally taking his advice." I took off the engagement ring, the diamond glittering in the afternoon sun. "This," I said, placing it on the table, "represents a future I no longer want. A future where I'm constantly trying to live up to someone else's expectations, where my worth is measured by the size of my paycheck and the prestige of my profession. I deserve to be with someone who celebrates my passion, not someone who tries to change me." The silence was deafening. Serena's face drained of color. Her parents gaped at me, their expressions a mixture of shock and disbelief. My own parents looked stunned, but in my father's eyes I saw a flicker of something else. Respect, maybe even pride. "I'm done," I said, my voice ringing with finality. "I'm done pretending to be someone I'm not. I'm done letting you control my life. I'm walking away, and I'm never looking back." I turned and walked away, leaving them standing there, speechless, amidst the wreckage of their perfect little world. The sun felt warm on my face, the air sweet with the scent of freedom. It was over. And it felt glorious. Wow, Reddit, it's been 3 months since the great barbecue blow up, and let me tell you, things are different. The immediate aftermath was pretty much as expected: nuclear fallout. Serena and her family were mortified. Lots of hushed phone calls, icy glares, and general social shunning. My Aunt Carol hasn't spoken to me since, which honestly is a win. My parents, that was more complicated. My mom was furious, disappointed, the whole 9 yards. She kept saying I'd embarrassed them, ruined everything. My dad, though, he was surprisingly quiet. A few weeks later, he actually called me just to talk. He admitted he'd always admired my dedication to my business, my refusal to give up on something I loved, even when it wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't a full apology, but it was something. A crack in the wall, maybe. We're still working on it, but there's a newfound respect there, a fragile understanding that we're different people with different paths. As for Serena, well, she tried to play the victim. Lots of I was just trying to help him, and he's so sensitive to anyone who would listen. But honestly, I think some of her friends saw through it. A few of them even reached out to me, saying they respected my decision. That was unexpected. Kind of validating, actually. Socially, things got weird. Our friend groups were pretty intertwined, so there was definitely some awkwardness, some choosing sides. But honestly, I'm good with it. I realized I'd been trying to fit in with a crowd that never really accepted me for who I was. I've been reconnecting with old friends, the ones who love cars, who get grease under their fingernails, who don't care about fancy titles or designer clothes. It's liberating. The biggest change, though, me. I'm different. I'm not constantly second-guessing myself, trying to live up to someone else's expectations. I'm focused on my business, and it's thriving. I'm finally building the life I want on my own terms. I even started teaching a night class at the local community college, sharing my passion with others. It's amazing. I feel authentic, whole, like I'm finally driving my own damn car instead of being chauffeured around by someone else's agenda. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, of course. There are still days when the old insecurities creep in when I doubt myself. But now I have the tools to deal with it. I remember Mr. Harding's words, the support of my true friends, the satisfaction of building something with my own two hands. I'm enough. So, Reddit, what do you think? Have you ever had to walk away from a relationship or even a family dynamic to reclaim your sense of self? How did you handle the fallout? I'd love to hear your stories.